We love the word self-made. Self-made millionaire, self-taught genius, self-sufficient human. It's one of our favorite stories about ourselves. But I want to ask you something uncomfortable today. What if that story is not entirely true? Think about the day you were born. Before you took your first breath, there was already a system waiting for you. A hospital, a doctor who had trained for years, roads that let your parents rush through the night, electricity that keeps the machines running, a government that had certified that hospital safe. You arrived and the world caught you. You didn't build any of that. None of us did. And as we grow, schools shape our thinking, police make our streets navigable, industries create jobs where our parents work, and beneath all of it, a family, a mother, a father, or someone who simply chose to stay and sacrifice without applause. Everything was organized before we had the awareness to appreciate it. And that is precisely the problem. Because here is what I have noticed in years of working with people. What is always available becomes invisible, and what is invisible is rarely appreciated, and what is not appreciated is eventually destroyed. We are not facing a crisis of resources, we are facing a crisis of awareness. I have seen it in offices, in universities, in families, and in nations. Entitlement without effort, consumption without contribution, criticism without comprehension, and most heartbreaking of all, ingratitude in the presence of abundance. Let me make this personal. Do you know from where your water comes from? Not philosophically, practically. Do you know who maintains the road you drove on this morning? Do you know how many invisible human hands made it possible for your phone to connect to the internet? In this room, right now, thousands of engineers, satellite systems, undersea cables, power grids, international agreements. We are the most interconnected species in the history of the planet, and we feel more alone, more entitled, and more ungrateful than ever before. That is not a political problem. That is a consciousness problem. Now, I'm not here to romanticize the systems. Organized societies are not perfect. They can breed dependency. They can calcify into injustice. They can protect the powerful and ignore the vulnerable. History has shown us that systems can also be weaponized. Colonization was a system. Slavery was a system. Exploitation wears the costume of order. The Asura, the destructive force, does not arrive wearing horns. It arrives wearing a tie, a flag, a scripture. It thrives on war, on division, on slow erosion of the one thing it cannot control: the conscious, ethical, self-sustaining family and community. Because when people are aware, when they know their roots, know their responsibilities, know their worth, they cannot be enslaved. Awareness is not just a virtue, it is a form of resistance. So what does awareness actually look like in daily life? Firstly, see. Not just look, see. Understand the ecosystem that sustains you. Name the systems, name the people, name the invisible labor. Second, feel. Let gratitude land, not as a ritual to perform, as a recognition of reality. What sustains you? Nurture it. Your family, your environment, your community. If you're not actively protecting these, something else will erode them. Don't stand outside the circle complaining about its shape. Step in, improve it from within. Lastly, give back through your work, through your ethics, your presence, not because you owe a debt, but because contribution is what transforms a passenger into a citizen. Here is the deepest truth I have arrived at after decades of study, teaching, and sitting in silence. Society is not out there. It is a mirror. When we are unconscious, society becomes chaotic. When we are aware, society becomes humane. When we are selfish, systems crack. When we are responsible, civilization evolves. You don't need to change the whole world, but you need to stop living as if the world owes you everything and start living with the quiet, powerful recognition that you are already receiving more than you realize. And the moment you see that clearly, gratitude arises, responsibility follows, and contribution becomes as natural as breathing. An organized society sustains us, but only an aware human being can elevate it. So the question is never, what is society doing for me? The question is, What am I becoming within it? If you need any help developing this idea, I have a step-by-step structured approach and I'll be happy to share it with you. Get in touch with me through the number in the description below. Hari Om.